Hello, this is Landy Poffo, formerly the genius of WWE. In the ring, where it matters. Yeah.
In the ring where it matters.
All the way from Quito, Ecuador, we're joined by WWE legend and brother of the late great Macho Man Randy Savage, Mr. Lanny Poffo. Sir, it's an honor to have you with us today in the ring.
It's Quito, Ecuador, not Quito. Quito.
Quito. All right. Got
Okay.
that.
You've just been corrected by the genius full of glory and renown.
And it's an honor to be so. So why Quito? And how are you liking it there?
I've been in Ecuador for 2 years. I used to read a magazine called International Living um, on the internet, and I've also been to Medellin, Colombia. I've been all throughout Costa Rica, but I found that Quito, Ecuador was the perfect place for me, the land of eternal springtime. I don't know if you speak Fahrenheit, but it's 48 degrees low, 68 degrees high every single day of the year. We don't have hurricanes or tornadoes. We do have volcanoes and earthquakes. So pick your poison.
Yeah. Do people there recognize you from your previous career as a legendary wrestler, and or are they more ambiguous to the product?
They are ambiguous to the product.
I'm
And
not
the
familiar.
only time they recognize me is when I'll either one of my friends tells them or something, and then they all get excited.
We have the same issue here where people aren't very familiar with professional wrestling, not a lot anyway, and we have to use people like John Cena or The Rock, people that they've seen in movies, to kind of tell them what we're talking about. So have you ever faced that issue there?
Yeah, but I kind of keep to myself, and I don't live in Kumbaya or Tumbaco where the gringos live. I live in the city of Quito, where the elevation is 9,000 feet, and it's a little cooler. You have to pick your own microclimate that you function the best in. Some people don't like it because its altitude is too high. It doesn't bother me at all.
Newer generations of fans may recognize you from your 2015 Hall of Fame acceptance speech, and later on from the DVD appearances where you spoke about your late great brother, Macho Man Randy Savage. But you yourself had quite an illustrious career in the business, spanning several decades and promotions in the business. We'd like to do a little bit about that and introduce you to our younger audience.
Okay, just do your best and forget the rest.
All right. So we all know the story about a frustrated Randy Savage when he smashed his baseball bats and decided that he doesn't want to play baseball anymore and he wanted to be a professional wrestler. Did you have a pivotal moment like that in your career, or did you want to do this from the very beginning?
Well, I wasn't very good in baseball, so that made it easier for me to accept the fact that I was never going to be a great baseball player. Randy came so close and yet so far. And I think that he finally, well, when you think about it, his career in baseball was over in 1975. And in 1985, he makes his debut in Madison Square Garden. So I do believe he got the last laugh.
Yes, he did. But how did you begin in the business? When was your start and how did you get into it?
1973, June the 8th, I graduated from high school. And June the 9th, I started in Paducah, Kentucky, making towns like Hopkinsville, Kentucky, and Southern Illinois, and different things like that. And I loved wrestling from the very beginning.
During your career, you faced many legends. You faced Harley Race, Hulk Hogan, Bret Hart, Mr. Perfect, lots of great names that were either opposite of the ring with you or from you or tag team partners with you, excuse me. Can you tell us about some of the favorites that you ever worked with?
My favorite guy to work with when I was a babyface or a good guy was Terry Funk, and he was phenomenal. And of course, I never questioned or second guessed him at all. It was Mr. Funk to me. And believe it or not, when Curt Hennig, Mr. Perfect, came into the WWE, I was still a babyface leaping Lanny Poffo. He wrestled me every town, every town, every town, every town. He always was professional and polite, always made me look good. And then I took the perfect plex and he set me down gently, and I loved every moment of it. And I also, he liked working with me. I liked working with him. And he was an excellent fellow. I'm very, very sorry he's gone. And I'm sorry for the that he's gone. Acute cocaine overdose. And the reason I tell people that, if I can save somebody, I'm going to do it, no matter what.
Yes, it's a sad loss indeed, and we have a holy phrase that we believe in, which is if you can save one life, it's as if you've saved all of humanity. And I'm quite aware of your efforts, and we're going to talk about that in the course of this interview. I was curious about the nickname Leaping Lanny. Where did that come from?
Well, my father was very dear friends with Leaping Larry Shane of Detroit, Michigan.
Okay.
And if you haven't seen him wrestle, he was fantastic and phenomenal. Unfortunately, he liked to drive too fast. So, what I'm telling you is that's how he got killed, by driving too fast, and he wrapped his car around a light pole, and it was horrible. But what a great wrestler and what a nice man. I never met him, but my father liked him a lot.
And you adopted his nickname for your career.
Well, it's Leaping Larry Shane, Leaping Lanny Poffo. So there you have it.
We've seen several brotherly feuds in the wrestling business over the years. We've seen Bret versus Owen. We've seen Scott versus Rick Steiner. We've even seen Matt and Jeff Hardy. I don't recall ever seeing a match between you and your great brother, Macho Man Randy Savage. Have you ever wrestled each other? And if not, was that by design?
We wrestled each other quite a bit in our own promotion, ICW, and I had the belt. He took it from me, and all those rematches happened. And what a fantastic person to wrestle. He was excellent and great. And when I said Terry Funk was my favorite, scratch that. I loved working with my brother.
Indeed you would have. He was amazing. He was phenomenal in all ways. And I wanted to ask about that. What was it like being the brother of the Macho Man Randy Savage? I mean, in the locker room, not just on a human scale, but in the locker room, being the brother of the Macho Man. Did that gain you some, let's say, some cred with the other boys, or were they jealous of you? What was that like?
Well, let's put it this way. Somebody just asked me, did anybody ever rib me or put padlocks on my bag, or put shaving cream on something, or destroy any of my stuff? I was the brother of the Macho Man Randy Savage. Would you take a chance on making me have a problem when you know that Randy would solve it?
No, sir.
Okay, so I had so now when I go someplace, and I still accept bookings once in a while, if the
Yes.
price is right, I'll be there tonight. But if somebody wants to rib me now, I don't have my brother to protect me anymore. So I'm more careful of where I put my stuff.
Yes, I understand that. I understand that. Is it true that you were actually contracted by WCW for a while for the Gorgeous George character? I read that somewhere, but I find it kind of hard to believe that they wouldn't use you in that capacity. I mean, with your verbal skills and your ability, when I read it, it blew my mind. Is it true, or was that just one of those rumors on the internet?
Well, don't forget they didn't have one booker. They had a booking committee.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And that's what would stifle a lot of things before they happen. Okay, I believe that in wrestling, a booking committee doesn't do as well as a dictatorship. Okay,
I agree.
so especially if it's the right dictator, and he gets fired anyway if he doesn't start drawing money immediately. So I bleached my hair blonde. I also took it upon myself to buy contact lenses to make my eyes very, very blue. And I wrote a song, which I cannot remember now, something like Gorgeous George, they call me Gorgeous George, with my hair blonde and curly and my eyes of china blue, something like that. I can't remember it. And I spent some money on it and trying to make the right entrance, trying to make an original song. I also I was living in Florida where I sunbed all the time. I also owned a sun where I did an hour of sunbed a day and real sun if it wasn't raining. I trained. Randy was very adamant about, he would like make sure that I was looking good because that phone's going to ring. You got to be ready when that phone rings. And that's when you start. And I stayed ready. But what happened was, if I may say, it probably wouldn't have gotten over anyway if I had, because my hair was breaking off. I bleached it blonde so much. Right now, this is my real hair color. You know, it's a little silvery and dark brown because I'm going to be 68 years old in December. But my hair was breaking off, and instead of looking like Gorgeous George, I was starting to look like the Scarecrow from The Wizard of Oz. It did, you know, it's not an easy gimmick to live up to.
Yeah.
But I trained, I did push-ups and squats and lifted weights, and I ran, and I did sun, and I did everything I could. And it
never materialized.
It never materialized. And I'll tell you what, now I had a barber saying, "Do you want me to get rid of the gray?" And I said, "You do that, and I will never be here again." I said, "I am natural, and the only time that I will dye my hair or bleach my hair is if somebody pays me to do it. I am sick and tired of doing stuff to my hair. It's been, I cut it, I wash it, I dry it, that's enough."
And it looks fine. It looks fine. No problems with it at all.
Not
Speaking of verbal skills,
problem.
speaking of verbal skills, I wanted to ask you about your promos. You've always been one of the most well-spoken wrestlers I've ever came across through your promos, and you always managed to rhyme whenever you delivered a promo. It always sounded like a poem. So were you always interested in poetry and literature? And if so, who are your favorite poets and authors?
Wow. The poem that got me started into, I'm not going to bore you with the whole poem.
Please do.
But no, listen. It was Henry Wadsworth Longfellow who said, his hair is black and crisp and long, his face is like the tan. He works each day from morn till night. He earns whate'er he can, and he looks the whole world in the face, for he owes not any. And I always thought, what a fantastic thing that was to be able to look the whole world in the face because you don't owe any money to anybody. And I was always adamant about paying everything cash and not getting credit card debt and not, getting myself in the hole. And I'll tell you what, it's the best way to live. You don't have to stay awake at night because you fear tomorrow's bread.
I agree. I agree with that. So from that influence, you decided to incorporate that into your promos and make them rhyme and give them that poetic presence.
Well, when I came to the WWF, WWE, it was with no guarantees. They wanted Randy to be on top. He says, "Do you have any room for my little brother?" And they said, "Yeah, he can come in, but we don't have any room on top. Is that okay with him?" And he said, "Is that okay with you? There's no room on top." And I didn't care if I took the jackets back to the locker room. Eventually, if they have any talent, they will see it. Then I noticed that I'm on TNT, Tuesday Night Titans, which is a talk show. Have you heard of it?
Yes, I have.
Okay, they filmed it in Owings Mills, Maryland. And I'm thinking to myself, well, I'm a good guy, a babyface. And if I'm boring, they're never going to invite me back. So I have to go with the best I've got. I wore my suit of armor, which I had worn before in other places, um, hoping that that would get me attention. So um, look back through the annals of history and the Wrestling Hall of Fame, men from all nations with courage to spare who struggled to carve out a name. Now compare these high standards of valor with those chivalrous knights of yore, with bravery staunch as their armor, their glory both legend and lore. My medieval connection with wrestling relives that magnificent past, though mindless skeptics may snicker and scoff. The winner is he who laughs last. Alive with the love of wrestling, I appear on TNT between Vince and awful Alfred, the hottest show on TV. I'm not your average wrestler, but I wouldn't want to be. I never scream or kiss my arms. I'm happy just being me. I call myself Leaping Lanny. I validate what I say to every single wrestling fan watching USA. Yes, I believe in miracles, as God has blessed this great land. I believe the referee will soon be raising my hand. And then they broke for a commercial, and Vince McMahon tells me, Lanny, that was great. From now on, you do a poem before every match. And I thought and I acted blasé about it, but inside that 10-year-old boy was saying, yes, because a wrestler without a gimmick is boring.
Exactly.
So,
And I bet that could get over even today. I mean, that same gimmick, if somebody managed to do that, and I don't think there are many who are capable of it, but if there was, I think that could get over even today.
well,
Speaking
thank you. And it got over a lot better than my bleachy hair that was breaking off. You see,
yeah,
that's how, for me, poetry is fun and easy. And I'll tell you what, I love poetry. The worst part about wrestling is I had to travel all the time. But the best part about wrestling is I got to travel all the time.
yes.
Okay. And there's good and bad about that. And to be very honest with you, Al, I don't accept, I don't do interviews anymore. And I don't do, um, I don't, I got Skype because of you and everything. And
Thank you. I
what
really appreciate
fascinates me
it.
about you is that you're from Tripoli. And I always wanted to go there. So I'm going to send my, maybe someday you can talk to some promoters and bring me in. And
We'd
I've
love to
never
do
been
that.
to Tripoli, Libya.
You'd be
And
more than welcome. You'd be more than welcome. We'd love to have you. We'd love to
well,
have you.
if you're a promoter that will pay my way and give me a nice, if the price is right, I'll be there tonight.
We'll think about a way to do it. We'll try to make it happen someday.
Make
I'm
it
sure.
happen with your sponsors, make it happen. And I will be glad to be there. And, you know, I'm at the age now where I don't turn down opportunities if I've never done them before. Okay. And that's why I go different places because I'm trying to fill up the rest of my life with adventure. And I would really love to be in Tripoli. If you know, we have a Marine song. Are you familiar with it?
I'm very familiar with it. Yes.
From the halls of
Source of triple.
Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli. And you can finish it if you like, but I'm done.
All right. I wanted to ask you about the rap album that Randy Savage did back in the day. You being a poet, did you help him with that?
Randy asked me to help him with Hulk Hogan's Be a Man Hulk. And I said, I can't do it. He says, can't or won't? I said, both. I said, put yourself in my shoes. I was a jabroni in the WWE for 8 years, except for 4 months when I was, when Hulk Hogan was the nucleus and I was his electron. And after he was done with me, I fizzled to nothing. So I was like a fat girl on prom night, but I finally got a date for the dance. I can never be done being grateful to Hulk Hogan. He did after all he did for me. So I'm not going to to do any song about Hulk Hogan unless it's positive. He said, well, blank, blank, blank. You know, he was very mad at me. I said, look, how many songs are on your CD? He says, about 10. I said, well, Mr. Perfect just passed away. Why don't I do something positive for him? The perfect friend. And so I wrote the song for Mr. Perfect. And by the time Randy was done, tweaking, I didn't even recognize it as my own anymore. But at least I made a contribution to the rap thing. And see, I love Hulk Hogan, and I love my brother. So don't you see that put me in an awful position?
They did. It's kind of like being between a rock and a hard place, because you're loyal to your brother and also friends with Hogan, and they had that thing that we all know about. So and we don't know about, we've heard about. I'm sure that you're more familiar with the situation.
Yeah,
Than
it was involving Elizabeth and Hulk's wife and everything. But put yourself in Hulk's shoes. He had 2 children that he was trying to bring up. He had a marriage that was trying to make work. It is very difficult because when you're with a woman and you have no children, that's one thing. But when you have a hostage or 2, that's another thing.
Yes.
And, it's easy to walk out on a woman, but it's not that easy to walk out on a child or to have them leave you. And I know that because I have a daughter. She's 38 years old now. I have 2 grandsons, 5 years and 2 years old. But my wife left me with my daughter, and I got over it eventually. But it's a lot easier now that she's 38 than when she was 13.
I can understand that. In preparation for this interview, I went back and watched the Hall of Fame acceptance speech that you delivered on behalf of Randy. And it was an emotional moment and a triumph for all of us, actually, wrestling fans who loved Randy Savage. But I kind of felt that the speech was a little too short. And personally, though I'm not related to Macho Man, but I personally felt offended that he wasn't headlining that night, that it wasn't his class, that there were 2 other people after him. So would you agree with me that Randy should have headlined that class and that they should have gave you a little bit more time to speak more about him?
Well, I went short because I believe that brevity is the soul of wit. And that's not my words, that's William Shakespeare. Okay? Mm-hmm. And if you remember back, I mean, I've seen a couple of those Hall of Fame shows.
Yes.
And Hillbilly Jim is still out there. Okay?
Yes, he is. He is. Some of them run a little too long, yeah.
Now, what would Randy have wanted? Well, Randy had told me many times, as if he knew he was going to perish, that he refused to be in the Hall of Fame unless it was a member of the Poffo family, Angelo, Randy, and Lanny. So the first time I got a phone call from Jim Laurinaitis, he says, how do you feel about putting your brother in the Hall of Fame? This was 6 months after he passed. And I said, I told him about Randy's wishes to go in as a member of the Poffo family. So I don't think that got over big. So that was 2011. And then I get another phone call. Well, here's what happened. Randy died at the age of 58 and a half while I was 56. Mm-hmm. He was 58. I'm 2 years younger than him, 2 years and a month. But the day that I turned 59, it occurs to me that I'm the older brother now. And I thought about the many, many times I didn't get my way, I didn't get my wishes because I was the youngest in the family. And I said, well, I'm 59 now. I'm the oldest in the family. So, my mother went crazy after my brother died, but very lucky that my father died a year before, because even though we had dementia, he would have understood. And my mother just lost her mind when my brother died. It was just too much for her.
Poor thing.
So a couple of years later, I turned 59, and I said, well, today's my birthday. I'm 59. I am now the oldest male in the family. And I've decided to let Randy go in the Hall of Fame by himself. And she says, you can't do that. That was not his wishes. I said, you want to know about all the times I didn't get my wishes because I was the youngest in the family? Now I am the older brother, and I get to make my mind up about all the unpopular decisions are going to be mine now. And so she says, oh, that's terrible. Randy didn't want this. Randy wanted that. I said, who is being punished here? I think is it the macho man or the macho fan? On one hand, you have one macho man. You have millions of macho fans that are suffering every year that Randy isn't in.
Yes.
So I get a phone call from Mark Carano, who used to be in charge of the talent relations.
Yes.
And I said, he says, is there any way you can come to New Orleans, Louisiana to make a few interviews for the WWE network? I said, yes, but tell the powers that be that I've changed my mind. I am now the oldest in the family, and I get to make decisions now, unpopular decisions. And I want Randy to go into the Hall of Fame by himself. He said, oh my God, I'll call you back. So about an hour later, he calls me back and he says that they only like to do one posthumous inductee per year. And this year, it is Paul Bearer. Okay, they don't want to do two dead people,
They don't want to make it too sad.
Well, I don't know what they have a reason for everything. So he says, but we want you to come anyway. And if you can kayfabe, means keep a secret.
Yes.
He will do it in 2015 in San Jose, California. But don't tell anybody. We want to be the ones to announce it. So I told my mother, but she doesn't have a Twitter account. So I didn't tell anybody, I promise. And then all of a sudden, they announce it. And, I did my best, but it was about a 5-minute speech, but it went 8 minutes because I had to let the people breathe. Thank you, Randy, jump, whatever it was, So I did my best, and but I kept it short because I think everybody should keep it short. I am quite offended by these long, boring speeches, and they don't understand that when you share the microphone with 18 people and you don't want it to go to 3 a.m, everybody needs to do their part to be concise and be brief.
I greatly respect that. I really respect that. I remember from that speech that you mentioned something that I think the media doesn't talk a lot about enough, which was Randy's contribution to the Special Olympics and the great work that he did with that. Would you mind sharing a little bit of that with our audience?
Well, Randy had no biological children of his own. He was always a good uncle to my daughter and a good father to his wife's 2 daughters from a previous marriage, not Elizabeth, but Lynn.
Yes.
Okay, so when he used to go out there, it was in full regalia with the music. Macho Man coming out there. The boys went crazy for him. Don't think for 1 minute they didn't know who he was. Okay, and then he would bring me with, and I would do my. It's called the Special Olympics, and there's something about that name. It's taking people off the bench and putting them back in the game. No one should ever be denied the chance to grab the center stage or share an honest, open smile with other boys and girls their age. For personal satisfaction or just having a little fun, the spirit of competition is the birthright of everyone. It's a very special moment when they pass the torch and run, In the words of Charles Dickens, God bless us, everyone.
Wow.
And that stole from Charles Dickens was from Tiny Tim. God bless us, everyone. And that was so. I like to whenever I embellish, whenever I steal somebody's um, line, I always give them credit. So I'm not because I don't think plagiarism is a joke. Al, do you believe plagiarism is a joke?
Of course not.
No, it's going to be real, real bad for you if you think plagiarism is a joke.
It's no joke.
Yeah.
It's no
Okay.
joke.
Yeah. I
Uh,
went into persona.
do you still continue those efforts with the Special Olympics now, even after his passing?
Yes and no. Before I came to Ecuador, I was still involved in Florida, but now that I'm in Ecuador, I am totally retired and I don't do much around here anymore. All I try to do is live my life as best I can. But one of the reasons is there's a language barrier. You know, yo habla español 2 años en la escuela, pero no es muy bueno gringo español. So,
A lot better than I can in Spanish.
well, I'm doing my best, but it's not really good enough. And I'm not really a genius. I used to say, I speak 11 languages. Escuchen, por favor. Santana comes from Mexico. Yo hablo muchos mejor. The French I speak is magnifique. They told me in Paris. My Italian's molto bene. I learned when I was 3. I speak English. I speak Latin, Greek, and Russian, Hebrew, and Portuguese. I speak Swedish and Norwegian. Now I'm learning Japanese. Aside from intelligence, I'm cunning as a rat, and I shall put these attributes to use upon the mat. I remind the competition and every wrestling fan, behold, the world famous genius, the world's smartest man. So the only thing real about my genius gimmick was I wrote and recited the poems myself.
And you did a
But
great
as
job
far
with
as
those.
speaking 11 languages, I'm afraid not.
I understand that. Randy was such a colorful character, and he was imitated a lot, but never duplicated. I think one of the best tributes to Macho Man was the character that Jay Lethal plays every now and then, Black Machismo. And I think you got an opportunity once to be with him doing that at All In back in 2018. Could you tell us about that a little? Because I remember it was such a fun match, and the way he would flip characters between normal Jay Lethal and then going back to Black Machismo and you would tap him on his back. Could you tell us about that a little?
Right. I was very lucky to be a part of it. It was a chance to get back to my hometown of Chicago. And, I'm just trying to entertain the people. I have to relax a little bit. Excuse me. Okay. And Jay Lethal's a phenomenal guy. And he asked me, did Randy really like my gimmick? I said, don't you remember when they did the 3-way phone call with Ed Schumann and Randy and him and and you? He says, he just tells you, do your best, save your money. And the only thing that's guaranteed in this business, there is no guarantees. And that's the only guarantee in life. And he gave him that advice. But he loved Jay Lethal is a phenomenal talent in this business. And I was very, very lucky that he selected me and pushed me what he could with the fans. I mean, with the Ring of Honor, and then finally AEW.
Exactly.
And I loved working for those guys. And if my phone rang now, I'd be there tonight.
I was going to ask you about that actually. I was wondering if you still follow the product, and if so, which wrestlers of today remind you a bit of yourself or of Randy? Do you see a little of you in today's performers?
Well, I was one of the original flyers, but now all the flyers are better than me. So let's be honest. The Young Bucks, they are phenomenal. They are great and very nice people. And I like everybody. I'm not one of those guys like Chief Jay Strong, where I was the greatest, everybody else was lousy. That's all you get out of him. Now, everybody's faster and better than me. And there's a lot of fantastic talent out there. and I hope everybody makes money, WWE, AEW, or whatever upstarts are coming up. I want everybody to do well.
That's very nice of you to say. With your lineage, knowledge, experience, and voice, and your gift for the Gab, uh, could you see yourself working today in the business as a manager, as a mouthpiece, as even a commentator? I think that any company could guarantee a lot having you as a face of that company.
Well, thank you, but nobody made me an offer, so that's why I'm in Ecuador, living my life, enjoying every moment. But if the price was right, I'd be there tonight.
So you're not saying no to it. If you had the offer, you might think of doing it.
I never got an offer.
I understand.
Okay, no, that's not entirely true. I'm going to be in Stamford, Connecticut, talking about my brother's costumes, and that's going to be coming up in September. That's where we're going to tape it. Okay, that's going to be on the A&E network, and then that's in October, and in November, I'm going to be in Germany, making a few appearances, not wrestling. Okay, nobody wants to see a guy that's going to be 68 years old try to wrestle. Um, Ric
There was
Flair,
some.
Ric Flair notwithstanding,
Okay.
but okay, one of us needs money. Okay, and why are you looking at me puzzled?
No, I'm not puzzled. I think you're breaking up a little, Lanny. Just a little connection.
Breaking up?
Yeah, it's just I think I'm losing you a little. Okay, you're back now. You're back now. I got you.
Okay, because breaking up is hard to do.
Oh no, that's not what we mean.
Okay,
In
that's a
terms of
song.
internet connection, I meant.
Okay, and then in December, I'm going to go to New Jersey and Newark, New Jersey, and do another one of those um, virtual autograph signings.
All right.
So, in other words, I'm on the periphery of wrestling, but I'm not in the middle of it.
And that's
But I would love to be a color commentator, or even a play-by-play guy, or a manager, or anything where I could contribute to the product. But I refuse to get into that ring and embarrass myself.
That's very well understood. I'd like to ask you about transitioning from professional wrestler to children's book author, because I found out that you've written a number of interesting books, and some of them have a very positive message for children. So I think that's something that we want to talk about with our audience as well, and your struggle and your new fight against tobacco and smoking and alcohol and all that. I think this is something very interesting that we'd like to talk to you about.
Well, thank you very much. And I, unfortunately, I sold out all my books, and both Wrestling with Rhyme and Limericks from the Heart and Lungs. They're all sold out, but they're still available on Kindle. Kindle. Do you know what Kindle is?
Of course I do. Yeah.
Okay, check it out. It's
I will.
Wrestling with Rhyme, Limericks from the Heart and Lungs. And like now in the Limericks from the Heart and Lungs, you know what a limerick is? It's 8 syllables, 558. Most of them are very, very dirty, but mine are all clean. Okay. When Sheila earned her PhD with her boyfriend of equal degree, dissertations got tough, so they smoked off the cuff. How stupid can smart people be? Okay, and then there's another one. Let's see. A real estate mogul named Dave let cigarettes make him a slave. Location, location, and smoke inhalation has led to his premature grave. I've always refused to comply with smokers who want me to try my first cigarette, which I haven't had yet. I just tell them, no, thank you, goodbye. Absorbent and yellow is he in his pineapple under the sea. The ocean's too wet for a lit cigarette, so SpongeBob is happy, smoke free. So that was what, 4 limericks, and there's 330 limericks in my book. So if you find that amusing, go get it on Kindle. If not, it'll be just the same.
It's a very positive message that I want to ask you about. What attracted you to drug and alcohol awareness? Is it the numerous deaths that you've witnessed in the business? Is that what made you decide to go on this struggle against these bad habits?
Yes, and having my own daughter, and I read an article that if you can keep a child from smoking or drinking prematurely, you are statistically better off with the five nightmares of youth, which are bad grades, dropping out of school, teenage pregnancy, teenage suicide, and I forgot the other one. Okay. But I mean, I read an article about that, that all the nightmares of youth can be statistically lowered if the child doesn't smoke or drink. If you can learn to fight against peer pressure, that then you have a chance to go your own way. Now, many people thought I was a little weird, and they were right. Okay, and here's the difference. While everybody was into pleasure, power, and possession, I was into health, wealth, and freedom. Health, wealth, and freedom instead of pleasure, power, and possession. That's the reason I look like this at the age of almost 68.
God bless.
Thank you. And that's the reason that I have no, I'm in no financial embarrassment.
That's a great message for our listeners, that people should stay away from those things. They should refrain from smoking, drinking, doing all those detrimental things to their health. And I read somewhere where you said that you want to live to make it to 100 years or die trying. So
Or
what would
die
your
trying,
tips?
yes.
Yeah. So what would your tips be to reach that age?
Okay. First of all, let's not live in a fool's paradise. I could be dead tomorrow. There's
Absolutely.
there's a million ways to die in Ecuador, crossing the street, or there's just problem. Everything's problematic. So I appreciate every single day. My philosophy in life, my mantra is each day a miracle. I I am very happy with every single day that I am alive. And number two, um, I try to set a good example for others. So there's no guarantee that I'm going to be here for 100 years or even tomorrow, but I'm going to do my best. And then if I do die, um, I want you to say about Lanny, at least he tried. At least he did that. He tried to survive. And I want to live, not merely survive. And I won't give up this dream of life that keeps me alive. That's another plagiarism, and that was from the song "I Gotta Be Me."
That was beautiful. That was
Thank
beautiful.
you.
Uh, WWE was late to induct Macho Man into the Hall of Fame. If it happens that they someday addressed you and asked you to join, would you do it?
Yes,
So
but
you would
don't hold.
accept?
I would accept if they wanted the genius to go in the Hall of Fame. I would accept, but don't hold your breath.
Why not? I think that you
Oh,
have a Hall of Fame career in any of your own regards.
let's put it this way. Um, Fame, if you win it, comes and goes in a minute. So the Hall of Fame, I'm going to be grateful for every moment I've had on this earth, whether I make the Hall of Fame or not. In other words, if called, I will go. But in the meantime, wrestling's been very, very good to me, and I have absolutely nothing to be angry or ashamed of.
That's a healthy way to look at it. And wrestling is what brought us all together. I mean, we get this great opportunity to speak to such a great man as yourself. So that's something that wrestling did for all of us.
That's true. A great man such as myself, and need I say, yourself.
Thank you very much. In closing, Are there any words you'd like to share with our audience here? The floor is all yours.
Be humble when victorious. Be noble in defeat. Be there when your neighbor doesn't have enough to eat. Try to love your enemy and always be aware that World Cup or Super Bowl, the tortoise beats the hare.
Those are words to die by. That's beautiful. Thank you very
Well,
much,
thank
sir.
you. And I actually wrote that for my daughter in 2002. I wanted to give her, instead of a Hallmark card, I wanted to make my own and give her all the wisdom that I had encapsulated into her front pocket. And we still talk about it. Be humble when victorious, you know?
Very lucky. She's very lucky to have a father such as you.
Why, thank you.
Leaping Lanny Poffo, thank you for leaping into the ring with us. Thank you for leaping into our hearts today. We really appreciate the honor to have you with us right here in the ring today.
Thank you, Alan. If you can find a promoter and bring me in, I would love to be in Libya and have a good time with you guys, and we'll have some fun, right?
Things in Libya are a little tumultuous at the moment, but we're hoping things get better, and someday we'll make it happen.
What's happened in Libya? It's a little bit violent.
A little bit, but hopefully things are getting better. Things are getting better. Things are.
I'm not afraid of Libya. I'm not afraid of any of it. You know, it's like you can't live your life, you know, afraid of your own shadow. So if you can bring me in, I would love to see it, and we'll just go to the nice places.
We'll do that, sir. We will do that. Thank you very much, Lanny. This has been an honor.
El gusto es mío, señor. The pleasure is mine.
Ooh, yeah. In the ring, where it matters.